Hey there, Cerise here. Thank you for joining me and welcome to Story Time. Oh, guys, this one is twisted. Yes, let's get down to the basics. All right, so we have two main characters and a guy and a girl in relationship, and we're going to name them Tally and Hassie. Okay, Tally is the girl, Hassie is the guy. All right, so Tally, her parents are Dominican, and they both of her parents moved to America when they were young with their families. They met in the United States and got married. Okay? Tally's parents. So now what happened was she went to school, very educated, raised very well. She speaks Spanish, she speaks English, and she is a very well-rounded woman. Then you have Hassie. Hassie, he's a guy, he was raised in the hood, and his dad went to jail when Hassie was very young. His dad went to jail for life, and so Hassie had to help his mom around the house, and he grew up really fast. So he decided that he was going to work in trades as opposed to going to university and going to school for many years. He thought he would just go get a blue collar job and work his way up, get a good pension, and retire early if he wanted to. That's what he was doing. So he was working very hard all his life, and as he was in the hood, when he was very young, around 17, 18, he had a girlfriend. And that girl, she got pregnant by Hassie. Hassie did not turn his back on his baby. He made sure he still stuck around. And, he made sure that he helped the mother go to school still. Like, she wanted to finish college as well. And so, he really had her back. He didn't want to be in a relationship with her for the rest of his life. He knew that, but he also knew that he had to share some of his life with her until the baby was grown enough to understand that the dad is in his life and that it's okay for, parents to be broken up. So that's what Hassie did. When his child turned 6, Hassie did the breakup. And he said to his ex, he said, listen, I just don't have that love and feeling any longer. And I feel that it's best that you go your way, I go my way. I got a little place. I'll still make sure I pay support. I'll still make sure I pay your rent note, everything. And, I just want to make sure that I get my visiting rights. And she's like, visiting rights? Like with their child. And she's like, if you're choosing to leave the house, then you're choosing to leave your child. And so he didn't want to fight at all. He felt she might change her mind one day, and it was hard for him to leave his child, but he felt like it was something he had to do at that moment. So he did leave. He went and he spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer gave him a few tips on what to do. And, obviously they went through the whole court system type of thing, and she was very angry about it. So Hassie canceled everything. He really didn't want to mess his kid up. He really didn't want that woman getting too angry. He wanted her to come around on her own. And so he gave her some time. During that time, he dated other women. He got himself on his feet. He, again, he was doing very good with his work, very good with his job. He was very reliable, responsible, team player. He was getting raise after raise each year and promoted to different positions. He was not making any lateral moves. He was making some big moves and leaps in his career. So, obviously, he wanted a woman to match that. His ex, she said she wanted to go to college, and he did stay with her so she could go to college, but she ended up dropping out. And when he left, she went on welfare, and she wasn't really able to take care of herself. He did pay rent and he did pay child support, but he paid that undercover so she could take it and still get money from the government. He was trying to help her out. He wasn't trying to just leave her high and dry. So now what happened was he met the beautiful Tally. So when he met Tally, Tally and him hit it off immediately. Now, Hassie, he was living on his own, and Tally, she was living with her parents. So, and because her parents are traditional Dominicans, they really are, even though they were in America for so long, she was like raised very traditionally Dominican, and she wasn't about to go take Hassie to her house and have him sleep there, and no. So she started to spend more and more time at Hassie's. Now, she's 25 years old, and her parents, they didn't mind that she was sleeping out. They knew she had a new boyfriend, so Tally brought Hassie over to the house a few times, and they had dinner with her parents, and they felt safe and they felt comfortable that Tally was in good hands with Hassie. And so when the moment came for her to move out and move in with Hassie, the parents had absolutely no problem with it at all. And he asked Tassie to marry him. And, Tassie, I put the names together. Tally. Remember, Tally and Hassie. So Hassie asked Tally to marry him. And she said yes, So they were engaged, and she moved into his place, and they were living happily ever after. Now, the relationship was very fast. And during this time, he was seeing his child on and off. The mother would contact him, and she'd be like, "Do you want to see our son?" And he would say, "Sure." And she'd be like, "Okay, well, you can come over at this time and that time." And he would go to her house, and, but she would always wear a short skirt or, lingerie and try to get him back. And he was never trying to cheat on Tally at all. She didn't even know, actually. The ex didn't even know that Tally existed. Okay, because that's how respectful he was of both women. He wasn't trying to keep a secret from anything. Tally knew about his son. Tally knew about the situation, but Tally didn't mind. Tally trusted Hassie. Now, Hassie's ex, he really didn't want to tell her too much at all because he didn't trust her. Well, one day, someone told the ex that Hassie is getting married. And she couldn't believe it for the life of her. She was like, no, this can't be true. She went and she looked on Facebook, the most common place to look, and she found the information she was looking for. And she didn't find it on Hassie's account because Hassie had a private account, but she did find it on his friend's account, the friend that was throwing the bachelor party for him. And she was so angry. And when she saw the photo of Tally, this ex was, she was livid, because Tally is a beautiful Dominican girl, beautiful Dominican woman, 25 years old, younger, and, well, not younger, they were all around the same age. Well, what happened was Tally didn't realize that the ex was that obsessed. Now, Tally knew, because Hassie told Tally to be careful, watch her back when she's like alone and everything. And, like when she's out shopping, he did tell her, he said, "Listen, I don't know what my ex will do, but my ex is a little crazy at times. So just watch your back." And she knew exactly what the ex looked like, because he showed the picture of the ex, and he told Tally, just watch your back. You never know. And so Tally did. She listened. He even bought her a can of mace just in case she needed it, And one day, she did see the ex. And not only that, the ex didn't see her, but the ex's friend saw Tally. And Tally knew at that moment she had to run, and she booted it. That song, Run, boom, 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 boom. That's exactly what Tally did. Tally's heart was beating really quickly, and she got into the car, and she saw the two girls walking really quickly towards her car, and she zoomed off. And one of the girls picked up a bottle and shot it at the car, but it didn't hit the car. It hit outside of the car. And she went home and she said to her boyfriend, she's like, Hassie, you're right. These girls are crazy. Like, we're gonna have to move. We're gonna have to do something. And he said, don't worry about it. He said, we just have to report this. He spoke to a lawyer weeks before that anyway. And he said that he's going to have to report it, and they're going to have to keep a log, and he's going to try to get custody of his son. Because when he did ever go to his son's house, the son was always dirty. There was never food in the fridge. The house always smelled like Bob Marley. You know what I mean? I don't want this video to get flagged with the word of... but yes, it always smelled like that. He said that there was cockroaches galore. That it's a place that he would not want his son to eat from at all. So he really, wanted his child. He really wanted to take his child home, and so he finally took all the logs after a few months, because things started to accelerate. After a few months, he took all the logs to the lawyer. Now, the lawyer had the ex served. When the ex got served, the ex was livid. First of all, he's getting married. Okay? Hassie's getting married. Second of all, now he wants to take her son. Oh, it was on. It was on. And she became a woman that was wrong and strong. And what did she do? She started to chase down their car. She would wait for them outside of their residence, but she just gave them more power to video and stuff of that nature. So finally, they did a temporary court hearing. And because of everything she was doing, all the video that he had, she was doing it too sometimes when she had her son with her, right? Like, she'd have her son by his hand, and she'd be pulling on him and yelling at Hassie and telling Hassie that he's a bad father to want to take the child away from the mother and all this stuff. And it was so embarrassing for Tally and Hassie and everything. So they decided that, they're going to have to move. So they did move, and due to the circumstances, they didn't have to tell her where they were moving to. On top of that, due to her threatening him and saying like death threats and everything like that, she was put in jail for a minute. Now, a quick minute. She did get back out because they realized that she was, just angry and passionate and just very much, just a mother wanting to have her child still and her man. She was in shock, right? So they forgave her and they let her out real quick. They shouldn't have done that. Spoiler alert. Well, what happened was she got it up in her to think that if she cannot have him, nobody's going to have him. She found out where he lived, and she went. How she found out, nobody knows. They think it was a family member. And she went to his house, and Tally answered the door, and she pushed her way into the house. And before Tally knew it, a bullet was in her belly, in her leg, and in her shoulder. And she was down. Minutes later, all she could hear was screaming and crying. This woman shot herself, her son, and also Hassie. Now, first, she shot Hassie, and she shot him straight in his private area. Yes, she had a plan. Then she did her son and then herself. She was planning on taking the son out of his life, taking Tally out of his life, and making sure he couldn't have children in the future. And that was it. So she passed away. Tally survived, and the young boy survived, and so did Hassie. Of course, Hassie can no longer have children in the future. The little boy, he was shot in the jaw, and it went straight through out his mouth, and he's fine. He has a scar, and he's healing as time goes on. Tally, she took some time to heal, and she's still healing. Now, they were awarded some money from somewhere, and they decided to come here. Tally and Hassie. Now, Hassie is not Dominican, but remember, Tally's parents are. And Tally's parents both have land here in different areas. And both of them are allowed to build on that land. So she can go all the way from the capital, Santo Domingo, all the way to Sabanata, and she has land in both of those different places. So she's building something here. She's going to heal first. She said she really needs to heal first. But she's going to build something here for children. And because her and her husband can't have children. Oh, they're married now, Hassie and Tally. And she said because they cannot have children, she's going to freeze her eggs just in case. But for now, she's going to take in some children. Not right now, but for now she's going to heal. Eventually she's going to take in some children and just live a good life. Right now she also is planning on starting a little farm in Sabaneta. She wants to plant vegetables. She wants to have like a really nice vegetable farm, and she really just wants to heal. So there you go, guys. There's a story and a half. I was so surprised when I heard the story, and I guess that's what happens. I just gotta advise you guys, when you're in a relationship with someone, make sure you find out their background. Sometimes we don't want to ask about exes. Sometimes we don't want to ask about relationships because we don't want to pry. We don't want to make it seem like we are insecure or jealous or too obsessed with them and their past. No, it is safe to ask certain questions without too much of a boundary. With a boundary. You can ask. So were your past relationships healthy? Just like that. You don't need to say, so what was your ex-girlfriend or what was your ex-boyfriend like? How long were you together for? What was your intimacy like? You don't need to get into all that because that's really not part of your current relationship with the person. But you should ask about their relationships in the past and if they were healthy, just so you can get an idea of what's going on. And especially if it is a recent person, and especially if the person is keeping you secret from something, you know what I mean? Always watch your back. Always make sure that you are on top of everything. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Story Time. I'm Cerise. If you subscribed already, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you haven't, please do so. If you have a moment, it only takes a second to do it, and I would appreciate it if you did. Alrighty, take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses.